Alright, cool beans. Hope you guys did enjoy that small montage. I'm Hex. I'm going to be going over a MagCro open world build. Now, I'm just going to say open world MagCro is in a very, very rough spot. Like, it is very, very rough. But if you like a challenge or maybe just love to suffer, here we go. Here is a MagCro build that is actually very, very capable of 1vxing. That I like to call the DoT-Cro because our pressure is insane. Where we can just dot them up. Basically bait them into, you know, hitting us, we heal up, we can bar swap into a Blasties Dawnbreaker combo, and good night. Exactly how do we do that? Well, stay tuned to the build. But before we get started, if you guys can hit that subscribe and like button, it really does go a long way and I greatly do appreciate it. Also leave down a comment what you guys think I should run next. But without further ado, let's Blasties our way into the build. Alright, so for the first set we do run good old Engine Guardian. Honestly, for this build, I felt Engine Guardian was perfect. Honestly, what I loved about Engine Guardian, it was just perfect for sustain. I didn't have to worry a single thing about my sustain. If I got a stam proc, I could spam my stam abilities all I wanted. Got a mag proc, I could spam all my mag abilities. Got a health proc, I can go full tank and spank. Like, honestly, just a perfect set. But if you feel like, you know, you're not doing enough damage, you could always swap Battlers if you want some good old damage. Or Bloodspawn if you want some tankiness. Next that we do run is Mara's Bomb. Honestly, Mara's Bomb is kind of ridiculous, and there's a reason it's getting nerfed. And even with the nerf, I'm gonna say right now, I don't think Mara's Bomb is going anywhere. Yeah, it will probably get me like on this build, probably be like a 1200 heal. But think about it. The thing that makes Mara's Bomb so powerful is that cleanse. That's literally the reason Mara's Bomb is so powerful, is the cleanse. Not only do you heal from it, but the ability to just purify everything off you, that's literally what makes Mara so strong. So next that we do run is two-piece trainee. Sounds a little weird, I know, but on this build we actually do use two arena weapons. So that's why we use two-piece trainee. Because the one piece gives us max health and the two piece gives us a big line of max mag. But we do run a mythic on this build, and that mythic is Sea Serpent's Coil. Honestly, I can't believe I had been sleeping on Sea Serpents for the longest time. This thing is beyond crazy busted. Like, this makes you hit so hard. If you put 3 Swift on your build with Race Against Time, you hardly even feel the snare, to be honest. Like, it's just crazy to think about it. And for the arena weapons, we do run, on the front bar, we do run the Master's Dual Wield. So the Master's Dual Wield basically makes our twin slashes deal extra amount of damage, and plus, which it hits the initial and the dot. If you don't know this, the initial hit of twin slashes actually hits twice, so it actually double procs from this. You do over 3200 bonus damage for having this equipped. Honestly, the dot pressure is insane. Like, and our other arena weapon we do run is the perfected Vacheron Ice Staff. So yeah, they don't have to be perfected. The dual wield or the Vacheron Ice Staff, they don't have to be perfected, but if you can, it'd be nice to get your hands on those. When you cast weakness to elements on a target within 15 meters, you put a beam on them. And every second, the beam does either flame, shock, or frost damage. Every 1 second, which increases by 1% every time you deal damage with it. Up to a maximum of 20%. For the longest time, I always thought, how do you get to 20% when you're tethered to that one person? What I didn't know was that if you hit targets within the beam, so if I hit Joe Bob number 1, Joe Bob number 2 and 3 that are in between me and Joe Bob number 1, they can all get hit. And if they all get hit, my next tick's gonna do 3% more damage, and then 6%. See, that I didn't know. That's how it can start ramping up, which is pretty cool. Thank you, Chump Grant, for giving me that little info. So the way we run it, we do run a, let's just get rid of this poison, it's really annoying. So on the front bar, we do run dual wield Maces. Yes, I really love Maces because in PvP, penetration is king. On the main hand, we do run Nernhone, and on the off hand, we do run Sharpen. The enchants don't really matter. If you wanted to run enchants, I would put a physical damage like I have here, and then change this one to either shock, flame, or even poison for a nasty dot. But I do like to run poison on this one. Minor prophecy poisons, basically, which reduces their weapon and spell crit by 6%, but increases our spell crit by 6%, which is really, really good. So for the back bar, like obviously, like I said, we do run the Vacheron Perfected Ice Staff. I do put an Onslaught enchant, and for the trait, obviously defending, because tankiness is next to godliness. So for the body, we do run the typical 3-3-1, 3 heavy, 3 light, 1 medium. For my 1 medium, I do run a medium helmet of Engine Guardian, and for my heavy, I do run a heavy chest, legs, and feet of Mara's Bomb. For my light, I do run a light gloves and sash of the trainee, and for my last light, the Engine Guardian's shoulders. For the enchants, if you can't, trash out all the pieces. If you can't do that, trash out all the big pieces. What I mean by that is head, chest, and legs. And if you can't do that, max mag is perfectly fine. Just adjust your health attributes at the end. So on this build, I do run 5 M-Pen, 1 reinforced, 1 well fitted. A little weird. So the only reinforced I have is a heavy chest of Mars Bomb, reinforced. And for my 1 well fitted, it is a sash of the trainee, well fitted. Don't tell me why I put well fitted, I just crafted it well fitted, and it's just been my universal sash of the trainee, to be honest. And for the rest, obviously M-Pen. So for my jewelry, I do run the Sea Serpent's Coiled Neck, obviously because it only comes in the neck, and 2 rings of Mars Bomb. For the traits, we do go all swift. And for my enchants, I do go 2 try reduce cost enchants. These are too expensive, honestly, I understand. You could just go 1 reduced mag and 1 reduced stam. But if you do put 2 of these, it actually gives you slightly more reduced cost, by like 10%. And for my last one, I do put a spell damage, just for extra damage. As a fire song, put spell damage since we only have access to 20% more spell damage. Next patch, it won't really matter. So for the food we do run is good old Jewels of Mistral. Perfect, just gives us a lot of max health and recub of everything. If you got a deep pocket or don't mind spending a little extra money, you could always go with the gold version or Zapka's. Gives you about 400 more max health, but other than that, not really much. And for our pots, we do run good old spell pots. So this is how we get access to our major sorcery and major prophecy. 20% spell damage and 12% spell crit. Obviously, we always have tripod slotted. An old fudge pot, right, basically. Alright, but enough of that. Let's go over the skills now. Alright, so for the first skill we do run is Stalking Blast Bones. Obviously, this is a really good burst, and it can hit really hard. Next, we do run Race Against Time. This is obviously our snare immunity that just happens to grant Minor Force and Major Expedition. Next is what I would consider a flex spot. I do like to run Rolling Blades. It's really good for finishing off targets. Just beware that it does cost stam, so don't spam this skill. Obviously, you can put almost anything you want there. You could put on Camo Hunter if you want. Up to you personally. Next skill we do run is Rending Slashes. Honestly, this skill is pretty good, especially with the Master's Dual Wield. It can hit really hard. I like to go Rending. You could go the other morph for a heal. Honestly, up to you. I just really like the snare. Next, I go Arterial Burst. Honestly, this skill is kind of a quote-unquote spammable. Not really. The lower health we are, the harder it can hit, which is pretty cool. Next is obviously Dawnbreaker Smiting. This is our big hitting ultimate. Does a lot of damage, stuns them, and puts a nasty dot on them. For the back bar, we do run Summoner's Armor buff. Reduces the cost of our summons, which is really nice. Next, Elemental Susceptibility. Obviously, this is how we proc our Vatron. And obviously, it reduces their armor. Next is Resolving Vigor. Obviously, there's not much to be said. Heal a lot over 5 seconds, grants minor resolve. Like, pretty broken skill. So next we do run Spirit Guardian. This is a really good skill. The fact that it basically gives us major protection on both bars and gives us a small haunt, like, it's crazy. But let's say if you don't like the ghost for whatever reason, you could run the Heal Tether instead, the one that restores both mag and stam, which is really good for sustain. But honestly, the 10% flat damage reduction, really too good to pass up on. And next it's Resistant Flesh. Obviously, this is a crazy burst heal that gives us resistance equal to half of what we heal. So if we heal for 12k, we're getting 6k resist, which is kind of nuts to think about. And for my back bar, I do run Ravenous Goliath. You could honestly run anything back here. You could run Ravenous Goliath, you could run Temporal Guard, Shooting Star, whatever you want. Alright, but enough of that. Let's go over the stat sheets. So let's just look over the max stats for now. So our max mag is a little short at 22k. Honestly, it might look a little low, but you have to realize I don't have full Undaunted. I have no Undaunted on this tune right now. The fact that I was able to do this build with no Undaunted, no Assault or Support passives, and I was playing the whole time as a stage 1 Vamp, it just shows you how good this build was, honestly. Alright, so with our Sea Serpent's proc real quick, let's just check it out. Look at our spell damage, 4319. Might not seem like a lot, but you have to realize we have Major Berserk active right now. 10% flat damage done. Now let's check our resist real quick. On the back bar, 31.5k spell resist, which can go up higher since we are a Breton. Physical resist at 27k, and our crit resist at 2300. So for my attributes, I did put 32 points in the mag and 32 points in the health. Really good, just pushes our max health so we don't get absolutely bursted. For the Mundus, I do run the Thief. Honestly, I felt like the Thief was perfect for this build. If you do need a little bit more sustain, you could obviously go the Atro, or if you want some big damage, you could go the Shadow. Obviously, we are a stage 3 vampire just for undeath. I am a Breton. Breton, I felt like was perfect for this build. I was trying to originally playing this on my Imperial Necro, but honestly, I grinded up a whole new Necro, a Breton Necro, got Sigic and Mage's Guild all in 2 days, which is kind of crazy to think about. And I was absolutely loving it. So this build can be even stronger once I get my full Undaunted and full Assault and Support passives. So yeah, you know, 2k mag, a lot of spell resist, which can double, obviously, and 130 mag recup because why not? And the most juicy of them all, reduces our mag cost by 7%. Honestly, Breton is pretty nasty. You could obviously be Dark Elf. Dark Elf could be really good. Khajiit would be really good. And I'd probably stay away from the other ones, to be honest. Alright, but enough of that. Let's go over the CP now. Alright, so for the blue CP, we do run Fighting Finesse. Increases critical damage, critical healing. Focus Many. Increases our healing done with single target heals. Wrathful Strikes. Increases our weapon and spell damage to our damaging abilities. And lastly, but certainly not least, Ironclad. Reduces your damage taken from direct damage attacks. For the red CP, we do run Celerity. Increases movement speed by 10%. Honestly, the best CP in the entire game. And a mandatory CP with Sea Serpent. Please, run this with Sea Serpent. Next, Survival Instincts. While fitted with a status effect, your core combat skills cost up to 25% less. Relentlessness, being still under fear, grants us major protection for 3 seconds. And Pain's Refuge. Reduces your damage taken by 2% for every 2 negative effects, up to a max of 20%. And for the green CP, I mean, doesn't really matter. Rationer, Liquid Efficiency, Gifted Rider, and Sea's Blessing. But alright, cool beans, that's the build. Honestly, this MagCro, I'll just say right now, MagCro open world, not bombing, is, I'm just gonna say it, it's not that great. I really do not like MagCro. Don't get me wrong, this build was a lot of fun. Don't get me wrong, the DoT-Cro was fun. It was fun. Like the pressure you could put on a target, you basically dot them up, let them go full roto, you sustain up a bit, you bar swap heavy attack Dawnbreaker, good night. Like, it was pretty nasty. But yeah, hope you did enjoy the build video. Like the video if you liked it, comment your thoughts or experience with the build. Also anything I might have missed out, what build I should do next. Subscribe for more, but most importantly, stay Zerging.